Picture this. It's the 1870s. The dusty plains stretch endlessly before you. The sun beats down mercilessly, and every breath tastes of grit and gunpowder. You're in the Wild West, a land of untamed wilderness and unspoken rules, a place where survival is never guaranteed and legends are born from sheer grit. In the heart of the frontier lies a boomtown. Here, fortune seekers dig their hopes into the dirt, panning for gold or striking it rich with silver. The streets are chaotic, a mix of gamblers, ranchers, gunslingers, and outlaws. It's a dangerous place where justice is quick and often comes at the end of a Colt revolver. Enter the sheriff. He walks tall, a dusty badge pinned to his chest, a steely gaze that could stop a bar fight with a single look. But this isn't a hero's job. It's a battle to keep the peace in a town teetering on the edge of lawlessness. Every decision carries weight. Every duel could be his last. If you can't hold your own here, son, you best move along. The West don't wait for anyone. Beyond the town limits, danger lurks in the form of outlaws, men and women who live by no law but their own. They raid settlements, rob stagecoaches, and challenge the law at every turn. Names like Billy the Kid and Jesse James strike fear into the hearts of settlers. But to some, they're folk heroes, symbols of rebellion against the system. Gold don't belong to anyone until you're fast enough to take it. Not everyone in the West came with a gun in hand. Families traveled thousands of miles by wagon, searching for new beginnings. They built homes with their bare hands, tilled the unforgiving soil, and stared down the threat of raids, harsh winters, and relentless hunger. They were the quiet warriors of the West, carving a life out of nothing. The land is hard, but it's ours. And out here, freedom tastes like dust and rain. And then there were the duels. 2 men, 1 street, and a lifetime of grudges boiled down to a single moment. The air crackles with tension. The townsfolk scatter, peering nervously from behind barrels and window shutters. The clock strikes high noon. You drew first blood. Now it's time to finish it. Victory here isn't about justice. It's about speed, luck, and nerve. And for the loser, there's nothing left but the silence of the grave. The Old West was a place of contradictions, where opportunity met despair, where courage faced down chaos, and where legends were born in the most unlikely of places. It was a time when survival meant breaking the rules or dying by them. And as the railroad stretched across the plains, the wild faded, but its spirit remains, etched into the stories we tell and the land it left behind. Life on the frontier wasn't just about taming the land or keeping outlaws at bay. There was another, ever-present danger that kept settlers awake at night, the looming threat of conflict with Native American tribes. To the settlers, the tribes were seen as a deadly force, unpredictable and ruthless. But this was their land, and they were fighting to protect what had been theirs for centuries. Among the most feared were the Plains tribes, the Comanche, Apache, and Sioux. Their warriors were unmatched on horseback, skilled with bows, lances, and rifles captured from earlier skirmishes. These tribes didn't just know the land, they owned it. Every canyon, every ridge, every watering hole was a tactical advantage they could use to outwit and overwhelm settlers, soldiers, or anyone who dared trespass. This land is sacred. You cannot take it without paying a price in blood. For settlers, venturing into hostile territory often meant traveling in tightly packed wagon trains, their rifles always within arm's reach. A single misstep, an unguarded moment, could end in an ambush. But to the native tribes, this wasn't savagery. It was resistance against encroachment on their way of life. To combat these threats, the U.S. government built forts across the frontier, manned by soldiers tasked with protecting settlers and enforcing treaties. But these treaties were often broken by land-hungry prospectors and settlers. As tensions grew, small skirmishes turned into brutal wars. Tribes like the Lakota, under leaders like Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse, waged relentless campaigns to defend their lands. Forts were supposed to be safe havens, but they were far from invincible. Native American warriors knew how to disappear into the terrain, striking fast and vanishing like ghosts. The Sand Creek Massacre, the Battle of Little Bighorn, and the Red River War stand as haunting reminders of this bloody conflict. For settlers, the fear was palpable. At night, every sound, the snap of a twig, the rustle of leaves could signal an impending attack. Families huddled together, their guns loaded and ready. They built their homes into makeshift fortresses, reinforcing doors and windows, hoping it would be enough. But for every tale of horror, there were also stories of uneasy peace of trade between settlers and tribes, of friendships forged in unlikely circumstances. These moments of connection were rare but powerful, showing that even amidst the chaos, humanity could shine through. The truth is, the dangers settlers feared were rooted in a clash of worlds, one of expansion and conquest, the other of survival and preservation. Native tribes weren't just attacking. They were defending their homes, their families, and their sacred traditions from a force that sought to erase them. And as the railroads cut through the land and towns sprang up where buffalo once roamed, the tribes saw their way of life slipping away. The conflict between settlers and Native Americans remains one of the darkest chapters of the Old West. It was a brutal fight with no true winners, only survivors, each side scarred by loss and betrayal. The plains, once alive with the thunder of buffalo herds and the songs of tribes, grew silent as the West became civilized. But the spirit of those who fought for their land and their freedom lingers still, haunting the stories of the Wild West. So, what do you think? Would you have survived the Wild West? Or would one bad poker hand in a saloon be the end of your story? Personally, I'd probably trip over my spurs before making it out the door. If you enjoyed this wild ride, give this video a like. It's easier than winning a duel at high noon. And hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more stories from history that'll make you glad you live in the modern world. Thanks for watching, partner. Stay out of trouble.